Welcome back everyone to another Fake Mons analysis. Today we have a pretty fun video to do. The first video out of, I don't know how many parts this video is going to be. We have a lot of Mons to cover. But Super Mario Mons, I didn't know about this until yesterday, but they added it onto the Pokeathlon side server here. So we're going to be analysing all the Mario themed inspired fake Pokemon. Well, to be fair, it's hard to call them fake Pokemon. They're straight up just Mario enemies, but turned into Pokemon given stats, abilities, move pool, and somewhat. It came out on April 1st. I was assuming this was just going to be a troll, but I found out yesterday they added it onto the Pokeathlon. So it's time for us to analyze more fake Mons. I love how you guys have been supporting the channel recently for the fake Mons content, and we're going to continue doing that because Pokeathlon is going to continue adding more custom fan-made games to their server. So either way, if you guys do enjoy this video and want to see some more Pokemon content, consider subscribing to the channel, joining the kingdom 108 to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. But either way, let's get into it now. So there's a lot of fake Mario Mons to cover in today's video, so that's why we're gonna have to split the video up. There's about 97 of these guys that are classed as OU. These are pretty much fully evolved Mario Pokemon. There's obviously some NFE smaller enemies and like LC smaller enemies as well. So either way, let's start from the top going all the way down to the bottom. To be fair, I'm not even keeping track of how many Pokemon I actually need to cover, but I do need to make a box for this so I can get at least 24 and then go from there. So yeah, Mariomons OU, they've added this onto the sim. So either way, let's add on, let's start off with Amazing Daisy here. Now, I don't know where this is from, I'll be honest. Like, I'm a Mario fan, and the two franchises I grew up playing the most in my childhood were Pokemon and Mario, but I don't know what the hell this is. But either way, let's look at what it has access to. The stats aren't particularly too impressive, but in terms of the special attack stat, I believe this has the highest special attack stat of all the you know, Pokemon Mario Mons that have been added onto the sim. So 140 special attack is not bad. Pure fairy typing, again, not too bad. You got the moves, but in terms of the move pool on some of these guys have pretty like underwhelming move pools. Like, they don't go too crazy, and don't expect anything to be super duper crazy from this. Like, again, I don't think they'll try to make them as broken as possible, but you know, somewhat balanced respective to their particular meta game and the game that they're in compared to the rest of their Pokemon. But yeah, if I was to run this, I don't even know. Like, I guess you'd go choice specs because you don't have hidden power, nor do you have coverage. You do have some interesting moves. Weather ball, there is weather setters in this format here, you know, sun, rain, probably hail as well, or snow. But yeah, so in terms of that, I guess you could just go choice specs. Like, you're decently, like, 80's okay, but 140 special attack is, you know, the main selling point here. So yeah, Moonblast, weather ball just for coverage in case weather is up. But yeah, this thing is really lacking moves, to be fair. You got energy ball, and then other than that, you do get relic song, but you know, relic song is just kind of whatever. Like, you're not Meloetta, so it's not like you're gonna transform. But the 10% chance to sleep, I guess that's somewhat worth it. You could get some hacks here, and yeah, just max special attack, max speed, and yeah, this is all this one is really doing realistically. Like, in terms of status moves, like, this one is kind of like a grass type, except it's not actually a grass type. Like, it has reliable recovery, synthesis, has some interesting other moves, but yeah, that's it really. But there is some doubles based moves. They did add the VGC format in this, so I guess some of these guys have some VGC moves that they can use, but obviously I'm looking at this in a singles lens, so all of these moves are practically useless. But yeah, moving on to our next one, we got our first weather setter here with Angry Sun. Now, I'm pretty sure this guy first came out in Super Mario Bros. 3, but I first met this guy, was it Mario Kart DS Desert Hills? If you guys know, you know, innit? But yeah, Sunsetter, I think it's the only Pokemon that gets drought in this. So yeah, if you have some sun-based strategies, this is going to be your main guy to use to set up the weather in the first place. But yeah, has drought as its only ability, so you know, we just go from there. Has some really funny looking moves though. Bro just gets Photon Geyser for some reason. But yeah, looking at the stats first, 472 BST, not too bad, not too shabby. Decent attack stat and decent defenses. For Sunsetter, I mean, it's not Torkoal level speed, so you know, but it's not like particularly fast either, and it's not that bulky. But I suppose as a Sunsetter, either you use the Heat Rock or Heavy Duty Boots, and then you just set up Sun and go ham basically. So yeah, essentially this is mainly a physical attacker. Has Sacred Fire as stab, which is really good because it doesn't get flare bits, so Sacred Fire is the best thing you're getting. You get Morning Sun as recovery. you do have good coverage in Photon Guys. I don't know what Photon Guys is going to be useful for hitting, but you know, that's just a 100 base power physical move that you can use. You also get Solar Blade, which is actually pretty big as well. And Wild Charge, you have good coverage to hit water types. But personally, yeah, if I was using this guy, doesn't get any hazards, so it's not like you're going to be running hazards. But it just has some other really cool moves. It gets Cosmic Power for some reason, Heat Crash. I mean, I guess Heat Crash, but I don't know how heavy this thing is. I don't know if they've actually added weight into this. But if you're giving them one Heat Crash, you probably have to take weight into account. So I'm guessing this one is heavy as hell. The sun weighs a lot, so that's what I'm expecting. But yeah, other than that, I guess you'll just go all out attacking set. In terms of the last move, you probably need something to hit fire type super effectively, because grass and fire is ruled by fire types. You do get rock slide, so there's no issue there. But again, stomping tantrum as well, so yeah, just run any of these moves. I did mention something about like running running some defense on this guy, but at this point, just go max HP, max attack, I suppose. Like again, this mon isn't particularly bulky unless you want it to be. Like, it does get Will-O-Wisp and has a decent defense stat and a good HP stat, so there's that. But if you want maximum damage, yeah, just do this basically. But yeah, Angry Sun, pretty fun little Mariomon here. We got Antasma next, and real Mario fans know where Antasma is from, innit? Like, he comes from Mario and Luigi Dream Team, the fourth in the Mario and Luigi RPG series, which did just come back recently with a new game called Brothership. But Dream Team, yeah, of Luigi back in 2013, Antasma was that guy. But yeah, Antasma surprisingly doesn't have the highest BST despite being pretty much a main antagonist in one of the RPG games. Is given a dark typing with Bad Dreams as the ability, which thematically makes a lot of sense if you guys know what Antasma was doing in Dream Team, and also has its shiny colors. I think this is from Antasma X, the post-game bosses in Dream Team. Again, like Mario and Pokemon, if there's two franchises that I would know like the back of my hand, it's these two. So yeah, looking at Antasma's stats, pretty solid special attack stat and pretty good speed at 120 and 110 respectively, for pretty good HP stat. The defenses is pretty much just a glass cannon. The 100 HP does allow it to probably live some hits, because these defenses are pretty tragic, I'll be honest. But yeah, pure dark typing. Let's see what moves it has access to. Unfortunately, for a mon like this, like, you'd think it would get Nasty Plot, but it does not have Nasty Plot. It pretty much has no setup options, which is a shame, to be honest, because this thing with Nasty Plot would be quite threatening. But yeah, in terms of what other moves Antasma has, I mean, it has Stab, Dark Pulse. I don't think this thing gets Hypnosis, despite the fact that it has Bad Dreams as an ability, but I don't know if Sleep is banned from this format. Again, we banned it in Chaos, so I would assume the ban might carry over. But yeah, in terms of the special moves that this thing, that Antasma has access to, Dark Pulse, Bitter Malice, but is pretty much just worse Shadow Ball if you want to maximize your damage output. You do have Mystical Fire, and Heat Wave has good fire coverage as well. Heat Wave is obviously a lot stronger, while Mystical Fire weakens your opponent's special attack stat. But again, damage over secondary effects is the way I live this life. So yeah, we're going Heat Wave. And then the last move, to be fair, doesn't get any useful utility. It does get Trick, so I guess if you have a choice spec set, which I was going to suggest as the item for Antasma here, you'll just go this Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, Heat Wave, Trick. To be fair, looking at the rest of these mons, I don't know how many of them really want to be taking 120 special attack Dark Pulse from choice specs. But yeah, Antasma, pretty dangerous guy. Was a dangerous guy in Dream Team, and to be fair, Antasma got done dirty in those games because Bowser just betrayed him in the end. And Antasma was willing to work with him. Like, you think an evil ass looking guy would be willing to work with someone like Bowser, but this guy was on it. Like, he was ready for the crashing out, but Bowser just betrayed him in the end. So, you know, unfortunate for Antasma, but fortunately for Antasma, is actually a pretty decent Mariomon in general. But yeah, moving on to Bandit here. Bandit, honestly, can't remember when I've seen this guy in Mario games. Maybe in a Mario Party or something. Really don't remember. But regardless, 465 BST, 115 attack, 90 speed. Pretty decent stats for like an average level Pokemon. Like, you can't really complain. Like, it's not no Paradox Mon or Pseudo Legendary, but you know, some mons with this base stat total have it in like completely bad distribution, innit? And to be fair, you have a good speed and good attack stat. But either way, the abilities, it has Super Luck, Pickpocket, and Runaway. Pickpocket does make sense for the Bandit thematically. Super Luck, it would be useful, assuming it gets something like Night Slash, but I don't think it has any moves with high critical rate attack. So I mean, at that point it's okay. You have knockoff, you have parting shot, you do have pursuit trapping is a thing in this, which is pretty cool, and you also get access to U-turn. So I could just see this being like either a choice banded Pokemon with a trick over parting shot, for example, and just doing as much damage as possible, or just running Sucker Punch, Life Orb or something. Obviously I don't agree with running Sucker Punch on choice sets, but you know, it's an option if you are going Life Orb. I don't know if this thing has any setup opportunity, not really, no, but yeah, so it's just a physical attacker. There's not much else that you could really do with this, and I kind of like that some of these Mariomons are just a bit one-dimensional, because you know, some of these Chaos Mons, when you're taking in their Nat Dex move pools and everything, it's kind of hard to understand what they're capable of doing. But these guys, like, they're really just one tricks, which, you know, is easy for me to explain because I'm not gonna miss out on anything. Like, what else can this Mon realistically do? It has 115 attack and attacking moves. Use it, you know, and it does have some interesting utility in trick and parting shot. That's all it really has going for it. But yeah, Bandit, pretty interesting guy here as well. But yeah, moving on to Banzai Bill. Banzai Bill, probably one of the most recognizable Mario enemies, a bigger version of the Bullet Bill, and surprisingly is like the third fastest Pokemon that has been introduced with Mariomons, which surprises me because Banzai Bills are fucking slow in the game, bro. Like, when has a Banzai Bill ever gone fast? Like, I think in Odyssey on the Switch, like, when you can capture enemies with the Banzai Bill, you can actually increase the speed. But other than that, these guys in the 2D games are slow as hell. But regardless, 130 speed, 90 attack, not the strongest one, but obviously fast as fuck compared to everything else, and 90 is passable in a meta game like this where these guys aren't, you know, behemoths of base stats. But yeah, in terms of abilities, Levitate obviously makes a lot of sense. This thing is, you know, floating all of the time, and Sheer Force is also a pretty good ability to increase its damage output tremendously, of course. But yeah, because you can get away with like Nidoking with Sheer Force, and that thing is doing a lot of damage with 85 special attack, and Banzai Bill here has 90 attack. It really just depends on the power of the moves that this thing has access to. Now, I saw this thing before and I was like, it doesn't really get anything that particularly benefits from Sheer Force, but obviously it's a steel type, so Stab Iron Head benefits from that, and but also Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz is pretty good as a Sheer Force boosted move. Like, I always forget that Flare Blitz is boosted because it's so strong already, but obviously it has that 10% chance of burning, which means that you know, it gets Sheer Force boosted. So it has some pretty strong attacks here. It has high horsepower as well as ground coverage. It gets Rock Slide, which is also Sheer Force boosted, and it also has U-turn and extreme speed. So obviously it really depends on what you want to be using in this move. I think you do need Iron Head and Flare Blitz to, you know, maximize your damage. Fire complements steel quite well because you're able to hit opposing steel type for super effective damage. Obviously these two moves are walled by fire type, so you're going to want either high horsepower or Rock Slide to hit those for super effective damage. You could just go Edge Quake and Rock Slide here. Well, I say Edge Quake, but high horsepower, basically the ground move, and Rock Slide is the rock move, of course. And could go U-turn, could go extreme speed. I'm less inclined to run extreme speed just due to the fact that this Mon is already fast as hell, but it's not like people can't run Choice Scarfs to outspeed Banzai Bill. But yeah, this is quite a solid offensive threat in this. 500 base stat total. Like, everything looks good. Speed, attack, defense. Obviously we ignore special attack and special defense, but you know, it still has one of the best defensive typings of pure steel, and unless you're actually switching it in on special attacks, this thing will take hits quite you know, well, due to the defensive typing. But either way, Banzai Bill, quite a threatening Pokemon, definitely something I want to try and build around when I'm making a team for this. But yeah, moving on to Birdo. We all know who Birdo is. Birdo is a pretty fun little character from the Mario series, but we have 130 special attack, 60 speed. Like, this is giving me like some Aromatisse vibes, except if Aromatisse was actually good at the game, or good in the game. But yeah, you have Pixelate as your main singles ability that you want to be using here, because Co-Star, again, like I said, there's a VGC format, and some of these are made with doubles intended as well. But yeah, Pixelate is our main ability, and you get Boom Burst. There's not much else I can say. What the hell? I didn't even notice this thing got Boom Burst. Again, I only checked out a few of these Pokemon, so it's not like I know what everything does. But the fact that this gets Pixelate Boom Burst, what is switching into Birdo here? Like, this is completely ridiculous sort of damage output that this thing has going for it. But yeah, this is all it really needs. Don't think it has any setup. Again, doesn't need setup. You have freaking Pixelate Boom Burst. But yeah, let's look at the rest of the attacks that this thing has access to. You get Pixelate Boom Burst, you have Flamethrower to hit steel type, so you can't really complain. I guess you just go Shadow Ball. Again, I don't even know, like the rest of these moves don't matter. You're clicking Boom Burst 9 out of 10 times, so it's not really that important. You obviously could go Choice Specs, could go Choice Scarf to supplement, to, you know, fix that speed issue that you have. And to be fair, Birdo is quite bulky, to be fair. 95 defense and 110 special defense, that is actually quite solid. But yeah, last move, I guess knockoff if you really want it, but you do have access to Lovely Kiss, so well, you would have run Lovely Kiss on the Choice Spec set, but at the end of the day, I think you could just go max HP, max special attack with a modest nature, really maximize that damage output. You get to 394 special attack, and then after Choice Specs, I forgot the numbers, like 500 and something, but yeah, this thing does a lot of damage. I think it's 591 or again, I'm not doing mental maths, but yeah, Birdo definitely one of the most threatening Pokemon we've covered so far, and there's still quite a bit of Pokemon that we do need to go over, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, next enemy we have from here, we got Blarg. Forgot what game this guy originated in. Probably one of the older Super Mario Bros. 3 potentially. Again, I don't know. But yeah, Fire Dragon typing, 540 base stat total. We have some more of these beefier guys that are coming in into the fray right now. But yeah, in terms of abilities, has Magma Armor, Flame Body. Standout thing, 125 special attack, good speed, good defenses. You can't really complain. Definitely he's going to have some decent damage output. Low attack though, despite the fact it has Dragon Dance, so that's probably not the angle we're going to be going with this guy. But let's look at the special move pool that this thing has. You have Dragon and Fire coverage, that's all it really needs. But yeah, a lot of these guys, I'm just like, you're going to go Choice Specs, you're going to go Life Orb, you're going to probably go Heavy Duty Boots or something. Just like, again, this is a special attacker with a decent speed and good bulk. So what can I say? You're going to go Draco Meteor, you're going to go Fire Blast. Potentially, you're going to go T-Ball as well, just to hit water types for super effective damage. And then I guess you either go Overheat or Scorching Sands. You know, like, what else can I really say? If this thing is usable in Sun, I guess you have Solar Beam as that other stronger option against, you know, water-type Pokemon. But yeah, you're just going to go max special attack, max speed. Like, pretty simple one-dimensional Blarg here. But, you know, it's definitely going to be quite a dangerous Pokemon to use. Like I said, the item Heavy-Duty Boots, Choice Specs, and yeah, again, like anything with a high special attack stat, I'm going to probably just slap a Choice Specs on. You could obviously even go outside of Sun, double Dragon Stab here, just because Draco Meteor halves your special attack stat, and Dragon Pulse is still a decently hard-hitting stab option that Blarg has access to. So yeah, Blarg definitely one I have to try out. Most of these guys so far haven't been that bad of Pokemon that I would actually want to try and use in this format. But yeah, moving on to Blue Yoshi, the Blue Yoshi making its first appearance here in the blue variant. So yeah, flying type Yoshi here. I'm pretty sure all of the Yoshis can fly, but I guess they just chose Blue Yoshi as the one that they want to use. This has a flat bit of pure flying typing with Aerialate. Unfortunately, as much as Aerialate sounds nice and dandy, it doesn't really have a high attack stat to utilize any physical normal moves. It does get access to like Double Edge, which is a shame, unfortunately, because Double Edge and Body Slam would do a lot of damage. Unfortunately as well, it does not get any normal special attacks. You get Weather Ball, which again is only going to get a 20% boost to its power, so it's not like it's even going to be that strong. I'm pretty sure that only goes up to 60. So yeah, it's not even going to do that much damage. Well, to be fair, 60, then add Stab onto it, I guess is okay, but it's not that strong, I'll be honest. But yeah, gets Air Slash, gets Hurricane, Dragon Pulse. I don't think it gets any setup. A lot of these guys don't get setup, but it does get Glare, which is somewhat annoying to deal with. But I think the main thing that you're going to get out of this is Cloud 9, in my opinion, because if you're facing a weather team from Angry Sun or any of the other setters that I'll be covering in the rest of the videos, yeah, this thing would be able to, you know, stop the weather from getting out of hand. But yeah, it's just a shame that it gets such good physical moves, but you have 65 attack, so there's not really much we can do about it. But 110 special attack and 130 speed. Again, this is one of the fastest Pokemon in this format, so give and take, you know. So overall, Blue Yoshi definitely something to look out for. Definitely not as strong as some of the other guys that I've mentioned so far, like Banzai Bill and Birdo. Birdo so far has been the strongest one that I've covered. Pixelate Boom Burst, that's all I have to say. But yeah, moving on to Bone Tail here. Bone Tail is a boss from Paper Mario and the 1000 Year Door, a game I have not played, which is a shame, to be honest. It's a shame that I got into a Paper Mario via sticker style, which is probably one of the worst Mario games I've ever played in my life. But Bone Tail coming in with a 580 base stat total. I believe it's one of the highest out of the Mariomons, only behind Yube, which we'll be covering much later on because it's letter Y. But yeah, Bone Tail, Ghost Dragon typing, multi-scale, and Cursed Body as an ability, multi-scale being quite good. You have 115 attack and 75 speed. Again, not the fastest Pokemon here, but you know, you have heavy duty boots, multi-scale into Dragon Dance. So you're basically like Dragonite in a way. Obviously a lot weaker and slower, but you know, you are a good Dragonite because you're a ghost type. So yeah, so Bone Tail here. What moves does it have access to? Probably Outrage. You get Shadow Bone. I was about to say no Poltergeist. You're pretty fucked as a physical ghost type, but Shadow Bone is a good enough move to have. You don't get Outrage, which is actually pretty interesting in my opinion. But you do get access to Shadow Force, which is Giratina's signature attack. But you already have Shadow Bone as stabbed, but that was just something that I just saw right now. You got Dragon Tail, and then I guess you get Knockoff in the last slot, or maybe Psychic Fangs. I don't really know. The coverage is really up to you. Just choose something that actually seems like it does a lot of damage. But yeah, I would probably just go Knockoff here because Knockoff is one of the freest moves in the game. But yeah, Bone Tail here, pretty strong stats all around, 115 HP, especially with these defensive plus multi-scale. This thing could probably get off 2 Dragon Dances to bypass its low speed, and then the game is pretty much over after that. So yeah, Bone Tail definitely one of the most threatening mons so far for sure as well. If it gets SD, which it doesn't, I was gonna say you could go SD Scale Shot because it does get access to that, but you know, Dragon Dance will do. But yeah, even outside of Dragon Dance, I guess you could go like a choice band set on this, but I think Dragon Dance is probably the most you're gonna get out of this Pokemon because you're gonna bypass that speed issue that you have, and then you're still doing a lot of damage. But yeah, heavy duty beats multi-scale to guarantee multi-scale, or you know, run a boosting item, you know. But yeah, moving on to Boss Broder. This guy originates from Super Mario 3D World, one of the bosses, I think, of World 4, I believe. Don't ask me how I even remember this. Again, Super Mario 3D World is one of my favorite games from the franchise. But yeah, this guy is pretty doomed. I'm not gonna lie. Rock Fire typing, you're already set up for failure at that point, even before we even look at the stats, which honestly aren't that bad, but they just scream rock typing sort of stats. Low speed, decent defense, good special defense as well. Like, this is Garganacl basically, but obviously you have that fire typing, which does you no favor. It does have a really interesting ability in Steam Engine though, because at least in the boss fight, from what I remember, I mean, it survives in magma, so I guess it, you know, getting boosted speed in like fire type attacks would be decent. But yeah, I don't have any hope for this guy. Probably the worst one we've covered so far, just because the typing is horrendous. It does get rapid spin though, so it kind of is LARPing as Colossal in a way. Both rock fire typing Pokemon with pretty similar stats that are able to rapid spin. But yeah, no rocks either. You don't even get stealth rocks. Why am I using the bro? Why am I using bro? Please give me some sort of you know, excuse or use case for me to use this guy, because I'm not using him. Rockfire is still abysmal typing. So yeah, I mean, maybe a niche on Trick Room, but I've seen some other Pokemon with the stats for Trick Room who are stronger and, you know, don't have this horrendous dual typing. So yeah, Boss Broad, unfortunately, you are probably getting sent to the gulag because you're not that good. But yeah, onto Bristle. I don't even know where this guy is from. I've never actually seen this guy in my life. But as you can see by these stats, these Shuckle-esque stats, 230 defense, 200 special defense, and 20 HP. Like, this is basically the Shuckle of Mariomons. And to be fair, you come with a much better typing of Rock Steel. Bug Steel, I mean, Bug Rock is not bad. Like, you have less weakness. You have the same amount of weaknesses, but 2 of them aren't, you know, X4 weaknesses. But to be fair, you get Iron Barbs, and you're just pretty much a Stealth Rock and Spiker. Like, there's not much else I can say. I saw the rest of the move pool. This one does no damage, so it's not like you're going to be doing damage with it. But yeah, just seems like quite an annoying mon. Like, it will just get up hazards, maybe blow itself up. It does get access to self-destruct, so I guess as a lead, if you want to get up your hazards as soon as possible, I guess, yeah, Spike, Stealth Rock, self-destruct, and I don't even know what you're going to run in the last slot, I'll be honest. Like, what does this guy do? What does this guy do? But yeah, probably Mental Herb if you want to avoid Taunt, but you don't have that guaranteed survivability like Shuckle has due to Sturdy. And to be fair, getting hit by close combat or Earthquake is going to do a lot of damage to you, even with 230 defense. But I have a feeling that you might live. You might just live. But either way, yeah, just go self-destruct on this, and then the last move, I don't think it even matters. To be honest, it does get Shell Smash though. Shell Smash for the one time. 35 attack and 5 speed. Amazing stuff here. But yeah, Bristle, pretty interesting. I mean, it's not going to be like a standard like Mariomon in this meta game, I think, but if you want a suicide lead hazard set, I guess this is your guy. So, you know, can't complain. But yeah, moving on to Bruiser here. I think this guy made his appearance in New Super Mario Bros. And the Ghost Houses. Again, this was a game I grew up with in my childhood, so I would know about this guy. But either way, Ghost Fighting typing, one of my favorite type combinations to see. And you have some pretty modest stats going for you: 100 attack, 100 defense, and 110 speed. So you actually do have some decent physical bulk to your name and a pretty good speed to all things considered. But yeah, it does get Iron Fist, Unburden, and No Guard. Three all solid abilities. You do not get Dynamic Punch though, so no freaking No Guard Dynamic Punch shenanigans here. But Unburden, I'm trying to see what you can benefit with that. I mean, you do get close combat, which means that you can go White Hub, Unburden, and just outspeed everything, especially with a Swords Dance. Like, I would personally even run a set like this if I was going Unburden. Definitely quite a scary Pokemon to deal with. In terms of your Ghost Stab, it doesn't seem like you have any, which is quite unfortunate, to be honest. You do get Stab Shadow Sneak. I think that's the only ghost move you get, which is quite sad. You do get Shadow Punch, but it's not going to get boosted by Iron Fist here, which is the unfortunate thing here. So I guess you'll go Shadow Punch if you want the stab, or you just go Shadow Sneak as that priority option. But since you're on Burden, is there even any point of running stab priority? You could just go CC knockoff and you know, other coverage move in Earthquake or Mop Punch even. But yeah, just Earthquake here, and yeah, this one is doing a lot of damage. Maybe you want Stone Edge to hit flying types. Maybe that's a bit better than Earthquake. You already have fighting to hit, you know, Steel and Rock types for super effective damage. So yeah, max attack, max speed, and then an Adamant Nature. I think that would be best here. And yeah, 328 is still okay, but if you're at +2, and you're outspeeding everything in the end, like, this thing is quite threatening. But even outside of Unburden sets, you do get Iron Fist, Drain Punch. You could probably just go SD as well again, but you do get Shadow Punch as stab now because you know, it's actually not that weak anymore. Even though it only goes up to 72 base power, it's still going to be doing some decent damage at +2, especially if you add like a Life Orb or boosting item to this thing's damage output, and you have a pretty scary Pokemon on your hands. But yeah, then you'll just go a Jolly Nature here because you want a speed tie with other 110s. But yeah, Bruiser is definitely a pretty cool Pokemon to me. Alright, so we just covered Bruiser, and we're on to a more recognizable, more famous Mario enemy here, the Chain Chomp. This guy has been a pretty fun guy throughout the franchise. But yes, pure steel typing, Intimidate, Guard Dog, and Stamina's abilities. Again, these are all three pretty solid abilities to have. And then you come in with 480 BST, all like pretty much in the right places. Like, you don't really need speed, and it makes sense that the Chain Chomp is not fast. 130 attack is pretty standout. 90 HP is also pretty standout. And then your special defense stat is somewhat lagging behind, but it's not that bad in the end. But yeah, what does Chain Chomp have access to that could make it quite a threatening Pokemon? Now, it has access to Bulk Up, which is actually pretty nice. Boosting that attack stat. You do get access to Gyro Ball, especially on a mon that's this slow. You arguably could just go Curse because you don't need the speed, therefore increasing Gyro Ball's base power is gonna max out 150 pretty quickly. So you have a pretty solid steel stab option here. You do get Stone Edge as well, Earthquake. Probably definitely the Earthquake on this to hit opposing steel types for super effective damage. And then last move, you could just go Stone Edge. I don't really think you need anything else. And yeah, you have a pretty powerful setup sweep on your hands. Even outside of running a curse set, I've seen some trick room potential with this guy for sure. You do get stamina. Like, stamina plus like curse is just like increasing the damage. And you don't even need any attack investment on this guy. You could realistically just go max HP, max special defense, especially with a typing like this, and let stamina do the work for you. You could even go Guard Dog even if you don't want to, cannot be forced to switch out. Like, that is pretty good for a mon that's setting up like a million curses. and will maximize his damage with Gyrable Earthquake. But yeah, Chain Chomp is definitely a pretty strong Mariomon here. Shiny, the Golden Chomp from Super Mario Galaxy, the real ones. Remember that one? Real OGs, you get me? But yeah, Chain Chomp is pretty good. But moving on to Charging Chuck here. Another pretty funny Mario enemy here. 480 base stat total as well. These beefy guys as well. 120 HP is quite solid. 110 defense. Like, it is quite bulky and has a pretty good attack stat of 95. Now it does have Anger Shell as a hidden ability, which is actually pretty nice. But in terms of consistency, does it get Shell Smash? That's the real question. Well, this thing isn't really smashing its shell like that. But yeah, personally, I'll just use this as a Guts Pokemon. You have a slow fighting type Guts Pokemon, somewhat reminiscent of Machamp, Hariyama, Conkeldurr. The list probably continues through. But yeah, in terms of that, yeah, you're just gonna be maximizing your damage output. You do not get close combat though, which is quite unfortunate. But Drain Punch will have to get the job done. You get Facade, you get Earthquake. You do have Play Rough. You probably want to go Stone Edge as well to hit flying types for super effective damage. You also have U-Turn, which is interesting on a guy like this. But seeing how he just kind of charges, runs around, comes back, at least in the games, U-Turn does kind of make sense. But yeah, 95 attack with Guts is not too shabby in terms of the damage output. I don't even know if I'll go speed. I'll just maximize my bulk here and just go Adamant Nature. You get to 317 with Guts. That goes up to 475. And yeah, you have a pretty strong guy on your hands, despite the fact that your stab move is not the strongest. You could obviously replace it with Superpower, but Superpower has notable drawbacks, dropping your defense, lowering your attack stats, so you're basically without a Guts boost, which is not what we want on a mon like this. So yeah, Charging Chuck, definitely a pretty interesting physical attacker for us here. Moving on, we got Chill Bully. I'm pretty sure this guy comes from Super Mario 64 DS, I think that was the first game. I don't know if he was in the OG Super Mario 64. Again, I grew up on the DS version and I remember this guy was here. Now, we have another guy with a pretty abysmal typing of Ice and Rock. Yeah, pretty tragic if you ask me. But in terms of the stats, this guy is not too shabby. You're making up for that Rock Ice, weakness of a typing with 140 defense. Don't know how much that's really going to save you from a fighting move or a steel move, even a ground move. But yeah. We get what we want in it. But in terms of abilities, it does get weak armor, but 60 speed. I mean, you could get away with it if you double speed at 240, you get to 480, which again is not bad. But yeah, this thing is not impressing me so far, to be honest. Like, you have 110 attack, which is not bad. It really depends on what sort of moves it has access to. Let's see what physical moves it has. You get Triple Axle, can't complain. You do get Stab Stone Edge as well. Like, Ice Rock offensively is not bad. And then, obviously, you get Earthquake, and then the last move, probably Knock Off, I guess. Does it get any setup opportunity? Let's see. The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no. But yeah, probably just go heavy duty boots again. A mon that's rock weak probably just defaults to heavy duty boots, and it's a shame, to be honest, because the Chill Bully has 500 base stat total, pretty good defense and pretty good attack, but this typing is really letting it down. But I still think this mon could do something for sure, especially with weak armor as your main ability, because you get past your pretty shit speed and then you're able to output some decent damage on you. But yeah, like the boss Broder, not the Pokemon I'm most impressed with by any means. But yeah, moving on to the Chill Virus next from Dr. Mario, another ice typing little guy with 123 speed. I'm hoping this one has some support value to it, because the offenses aren't really speaking to me, and to be fair, 50 HP is also not speaking to me. But yeah, you get Ice Body. I would assume Snow Cloak is banned because evasion is dumb. But yeah, this guy, it does get access to Swords Dance, but 70 attack Swords Dance does not inspire anything in me, to be perfectly honest with you. I assume this is probably one of the doubles Pokemon. You get some interesting moves. Coaching, Ally Switch, Helping Hand, Imprison, Magic Room. You just get a lot of these support moves that are for doubles, but as a singles Pokemon, this guy is not impressing me in the slightest. If I was to use this in the format currently, singles-wise, I don't even know where to start. Like, I guess you could go the SD set, but no attack, no strong ice move like Icicle Crash or Triple Axle. And yeah, this is a pretty pathetic Pokemon, all things considered. But yeah, you do get dual screens though. If you want a fast dual screens Pokemon, I guess this is your guy. Otherwise, again, I'm not impressed with him. Bottom 3 Pokemon so far: Chill Virus, Chill Bully, and Bust Broder. So far, these guys are not impressing me whatsoever. But yeah, moving on to Chinchou from Super Mario Odyssey, the mummy sort of enemy that you could fight in the desert area in Odyssey. Again, like, I'm assuming you guys have played some Mario games, man. Like, please let me know down below if you played some Mario games. But yeah, Chinchou here, pretty decent stats all around. 100 attack, 100 speed. It does get about 500 base stat total, so it does have some respectable stats to its name. Normal ghost typing as well, pretty nice to see. Only one weakness to dark, and you get Mummy and Curse Body, which are situational abilities, but Mummy is probably the more useful ability of those to have. But yeah, mainly going to be a physical attacker, seems like. You do have 90 special attack as well, so you could definitely go both ways, but I don't believe this thing has any good you know, special moves, so you're pretty much locked in as a physical attacker. Let's see what you have access to. Now you get Stab, Shadow Claw, no Poltergeist. So again, this thing is not going to be inspiring much in the damage department, but you get Sucker Punch and you have Play Rough. I guess this is all this thing is doing. Which is a shame, to be honest. I wish it had better moves to utilize its attack stat. But yeah, 100 attack, Life Orb, Shadow Claw. This is basically some Gen 4 damage output, not in Gen 9. But yeah, I do like Chinchou as a, what do you call it, enemy in the game. So I'm just hoping it finds some sort of viability, especially with how cool the typing is. I didn't even notice, I didn't even run double stab on this guy. I just completely went for Play Rough. I forgot this thing is a part normal type. But in terms of your normal stab, yeah, you have Return, so I guess you're okay. But yeah, Chinchou unfortunately isn't as strong as some of the other guys here. Now moving on to Clubber though, this guy is powerful. This guy is quite powerful. Normal steel typing, which is unused in the main game, so yeah, quite nice to see. We do have stamina and huge power as an ability. Huge power with 70 base attack. You know, it's pretty powerful. This is stronger than the Azumarill by quite a bit. You get to 524 attack after huge power. So yeah, very powerful Pokemon. And like I said earlier, with some of the slower Pokemon, this guy is probably going to be the main Trick Room merchant, because this thing just does too much damage. I'm not gonna lie, 524 with a Life Orb, if you're hitting it as hard as you can, yeah, this thing is going to do too much damage. Now normal steel typing is pretty solid. You do have Double Edge as stab, you get Iron Head as stab, you get knockoff, and then in terms of the last move, I don't even know what you want to run, something to beat steel type, so you're going to run Fire Punch or Brick Break. And yeah, this one is pretty powerful indeed. So yeah, I thought about it in terms of a what do you call it, Trick Room attacker, because realistically that speed is not doing you any favors, and you do have to worry about a ×4 fighting weakness. But regardless, yeah, if I'm building the Trick Room team, Clubber is definitely going to be my first guy of choice to use as a main attacker on that. But yeah, moving on to Crystal King, I have no idea where this guy is from. Yeah, I really don't know where this guy's from. Either way, Ice Ghost typing, so sharing Frostlass is typing. Does get Snow Cloak and Refrigerate as abilities. I'm assuming Snow Cloak is banned, because again, evasion is stupid. But yeah, unfortunately, does not have anything on the special side that benefits from Refrigerate other than Weather Ball and Hyper Beam. But do you really want to be running Hyper Beam? I guess if you want a super duper nuke, you can run it, but you know, that's up to you, innit? But yeah, 135 special attack. I believe it has the second highest special attack stat, just behind the Amazing Daisy, the first Mariomon we covered in this video. But same speed tier as well, of 80 base speed, which again is not too bad. But yeah, again, this is probably another Pokemon you're running as a choice specs Pokemon or heavy duty boots. It does get Calm Mind though, so we finally have some setup opportunity. But in terms of choice specs, let us see what it can do. You have Shadow Ball, so you have both stabs. You get Mystical Fire, you get Moonblast. Again, Moonblast is to hit you know, fighting type for super effective damage, even though you're immune to fighting, so it's not the end of the world. But you probably want something to deal with dark type Pokemon that isn't, you know, clicking Hyper Beam, because like yeah, this is all this one's gonna use. But if you're not trolling with Hyper Beam, I guess you just have Ice Beam as well. But moving on to the Calm Mindset, you do have what do you call it? You do have Calm Mind. Does it get Freeze Dry? No Freeze Dry. Okay, that's fine. Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, and then Moonblast as well. You probably just want to keep Moonblast for hitting dark types for super effective damage. But yeah, Crystal King definitely a mon that I have to look out for sure, because you do have quite a high special attack stat, and the dual stab is complementing each other quite well. But yeah, moving on to Dino Rhino. This is a pretty poor Pokemon, I'll be honest. 435 BST, and these stats do not inspire anything. Definitely worse than some of the guys we've covered for sure. It does get access to Guts, but a fire type's Guts Pokemon, that means you're locked into a Toxic Orb. So yeah, it's not Flareon, so it might not kill itself instantly. Yeah, it's definitely killing itself instantly. But since you have a much higher special attacks, much higher HP stat than Flareon, even if you one-shot something, you are taking less recoil because you have more HP that you're losing. So yeah, either way, you have fire, you have Flare Blitz, Earthquake. You do get Flame Charge, so I guess what, 50 speed. Yeah, that's killing me, bro. 50 speed with Flame Charge, that ain't worth nothing, bro. That ain't not worth nothing. But yeah, you do get Stone Edge, which is pretty funny. And then yeah, last move, I don't even know what you want to run on this guy. Maybe you do want to end up running Flame Charge, because some of these guys aren't particularly that fast. Like a base 51 at plus 1, just about like under speeds base 100, which is still faster than a lot of these guys. So I guess you could arguably go Flame Charge, but if it does have setup options like SD, no setup options, okay, so you're going Flame Charge. And yeah, maximize your speed, you know, Jolly Nature here. Shame you don't got that extra power from Adamant, but if you do want this thing to actually try and kill things and outspeed everything, then yeah, you are probably going to want to run Flare Blitz. Maybe even over Rock Slide, maybe Facade even, but yeah, I guess Rock Slide is still a good option because complements each other well with Earthquake. But yeah, I'll give Dino Rhino the benefit of the doubt. Definitely better than Chill Virus, at least in the singles context. But yeah, moving on to Dry Bones. This is the Shedinja of, you know, Mariomons. 1 HP, and the rest of the stats are pretty abysmal. It does have access to Wonder Guard, but I'm pretty sure Dark Ground has even more weaknesses than Bug Ghost. So, you know, it's not going to be anything too crazy. You're weak to Fighting, Fairy. You have all 3 of Ground's weaknesses, and you have all 3 of Dark's weaknesses, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, they don't complement each other too well defensively. So, yeah, Dry Bones is not going to be particularly too hard to take out. Has to deal with hazards. At least it doesn't take any Sandstorm chip. Well, to be fair, Sand is the only weather with chip now, so it's not like Dry Bones is gonna not benefit from having being under weather. But yeah, in terms of what this mon is capable of doing, well, it has 1 HP, so give and take. But it has weaknesses to some of the most common typings like Fighting, Fairy, Water, Ice. Like, this mon is not threatening at all. But yeah, in terms of what you actually want to do with Dry Bones, I guess it gets Shell Smash, but it has 40 speed. So yeah, but I think this is the only use you're getting out of this Pokemon, I'll be so honest. But yeah, Shell Smash, Shadow Bone, because it does get access to that. But it's not Stab, so I don't know why I'm actually defaulting to Shadow Bone. But it actually has no moves. It has no stab moves. It literally has no stab moves. Knockoff. Well, I'm tweaking. No, apologies, guys. I'm tweaking. Dark Ghost is not bad. You can't hit opposing dark types, but you do get access to U-turn and you do get E-speed. So Dry Bones does have some ways of bypassing its, you know, 1 HP issue. But obviously you have to deal with the fact that you know, you're gonna have to make sure hazards are off the field. You're gonna have to make sure yeah, you basically just have to make sure it has no hazards up. But yeah, Dry Bones is definitely a niche Pokemon. It has 1 HP after all. But yeah, moving on to Duplo Ghost. I have no idea where this guy is from. Probably a Paper Mario game. I don't actually know, but it does have Imposter, so this is basically the Ditto of the Mariomons. So there's not much else I can say. It's literally the Ditto. So yeah, stopping any setup sweepers. Probably just want to go max HP, max defense. It has a higher HP stat than Ditto by 2, so you know, yeah, you are basically better than Ditto. But yeah, Duplo Ghost is basically just Ditto. Not much else I can say. But moving on to Elite X Naught. This guy is from 1000 Year Door as well, part of you know, that villainous team or something. I'm treating this like this is a freaking Pokemon villainous team, but from what I've seen of 1000 Year Door, that's basically how it is. But yeah, normal dark typing, Scrappy and Regenerator as abilities, pretty good base stat total. Yeah, this one doesn't seem that bad in my opinion. Doesn't seem too bad. 105 attack is not too bad as well. Doesn't get any setup opportunity. It does get Swords Dance. That's a pretty good start, I'll be honest. That's a pretty good start. You got Stab Knockoff. You got Stab Double Edge as well, Body Slam. I'm pretty sure this also gets Return. So yeah, you have pretty good stab options. And then I guess you have Play Rough as coverage. You get Drain Punch. Drain Punch probably not the option I'm going for, I'll be honest. You do get access to Triple Axle, which is actually a pretty strong move to have, and you also have Stab Sucker Punch. To be fair, normal Dark is not too bad offensively. Like, you hit Ghost types with super effective damage, and anything that resists Dark, like Fighting and Fairy, like, they complement each other quite well. So you could actually just go Sucker Punch and have this one pretty much be unable to be revenge killed reliably, because you have priority to be oh, you have Scrappy, bro. You don't even have to worry about, like, Ghost types. You're immune to Intimidate as well. And yeah, your stabs are quite spammable, in my opinion. But yeah, if you do want to go Regenerator, because, again, you have Dark to hit, you know, Ghost type Pokemon, then yeah, you can obviously go Regenerator, swap in, swap out. This is a pretty dangerous Pokemon to have. But yeah, Elite X-Naut here, definitely quite a solid pick here for sure. One that you have to watch out for. But yeah, onto Exor here. We do have Exor. So I also thought of this as a Trick Room attacker as well, because you know, it has 120 attack, 140 in the defenses, and 120 attack. Like, it has sharpness as well, and you actually get Behemoth Blade. Like, you get some pretty good solid slashing moves. So yeah, you have Behemoth Blade, you have Sacred Sword, you have X-Scissor, and then I guess you could go Knock Off last, or Razor Shell. I don't really know what you're using Razor Shell for. I guess to hit ground types for super effective damage. I think that's maybe I don't even need X-Scissor. What the hell do I need X-Scissor for? You could go Razor Shell. You have Psycho Cut to hit fighting types super effectively. But yeah, definitely quite a solid Pokemon to have as an offensive attacker. Again, I don't even know where Exor's from. But yeah, I'm running this on the Trick Room 100% to maximize efficiency, Brave Nature, 0 speed IVs. You have 30 base speed. So there's not actually that many Pokemon that underspeed you, I believe. Like, only some of these guys like Thwomp, Ant Trooper, which is an LC sort of mon, Mollusk Lanceur, Dino Torch. But yeah, most of the time you're going to be the slowest mon under Trick Room. So yeah, this one is quite dangerous, especially with Life Orb or Choice Band. But yeah, we've reached the end of the box. So we've covered 24 Pokemon, only 8 more to go, because I'm splitting this up into how many videos. But yeah, only a few more left, guys. If you guys are still enjoying the video, timestamps will be down below as well, so that means you guys can check out some of these Mario enemies, like, if you're interested in them. Now, moving on to Fever Virus. Again, this is probably another one I have no hope for, because like the chill virus did not inspire anything in me, but seeing some of these stats is more offensive. So I guess it does have some potential. 103 in both offenses. So I can't really complain. You have access to Swords Dance with an actual usable attack stat. So I can't complain. You get Flare Blitz, you get Knockoff. What else does this thing have access to? You do get Thunder Punch as well to hit water types for super effective damage. So I guess you have that. And yeah, we actually have a decent looking virus sort of Mariomon here, because you actually have a good attack stat and good speed. So yeah. Heavy duty boots to prevent Stealth Rocks from doing damage, or Life Orb. You do get Flame Body. I think Flame Body is probably more useful here, just because of the fact that, you know, if they attack you and kill you with a physical attack, like that's contact, you have a chance of banning them. But yeah, Fever Virus here, definitely better than its counterpart Chill Virus. I'm pretty sure there's a Yellow Virus as well. Forgot what that one is called, but we'll probably encounter it sooner or later. But yeah, moving on to Fishbone. This guy has been pissing off some people, because for Mario Kart World, people are just like, they're really adding everyone into this game. Yeah, because the Fishbone is now going to be a playable character in Mario Kart World that's coming out on the Switch too. But either way, what does Fishbone have access to? It has access to Swift Swim, so it's going to be your main range sweeper here, because there is a Drizzle one that we'll be covering later. But yeah, Fishbone here, pretty decent stats for a Swift Swimmer. This thing is basically Barraskewda, but slower and weaker, but you do have an added Ghost typing. In terms of what it can utilize with that Ghost typing, like the Bone enemies, it does have access to Shadow Bone, so that means that's actually is going to be doing some good damage in the damage department. But yeah, in terms of physical water stab, you don't get no Wave Crash, but you do have Liquidation, which under Rain will not be that weak. Is going to be quite strong, to be honest. You get Flip Turn, and then I guess you go Aqua Jet here to have that priority, and then yeah, you just go max attack, max speed with Adamant Nature, and that's pretty much all Fishbone is going to do for you. Even outside of Rain, It's probably still just going to do the same thing because it actually has quite a solid speed tier with decent attack stat. But yeah, you'll probably just want to use this in range so it's not outsped by anything, and you have a strong water stab to spam under rain. But yeah. Oh wait, I actually need to be counting how many mons. I need 8 mons. I need 8 mons here to cut the video. But yeah, moving on to Fuzzy here. Fuzzy has schooling, which I don't know. So Fuzzy has Swarm, which, damn, this mon is powerful. Okay, this is actually pretty good. Wait, who the hell is messaging me? Okay, yeah, I don't want to battle you, bro. Sorry about that. But yeah, Fuzzy here, bug dark typing. For a second I was just like, why is this guy even OU? Like, these are some pretty shit stats. But when they get schooling activated, yeah, this is basically wishy-washy 2.0. Bug dark typing with first impression. This could be a pretty solid revenge killer with first impression. You get knock off a stab. Please tell me you get U-turn. Yep, you get U-turn. And then in terms of the last move, you could go Psychic Fangs. You could go Sucker. Well, Sucker Punch with the choice set is not it for me. But yeah. And then you get a tackle that has a pretty good bug stab as well. Probably play rough to hit fighting types for super effective damage, or even Psychic Fangs, but play rough is stronger. But yeah, this thing is not particularly fast, so I guess you're just gonna max out your attack here. But yeah, nah, this is a pretty dangerous Pokemon. You also have 130 special attack as well. With in terms of its special output, let's see what moves that it has access to. Bug, yeah, 5 moves. I'm okay, bro. I'm okay. Yeah, so this is gonna be a pretty good revenge killer for sure. But yeah, moving on to our 4th last Pokemon, we got Gloomtail, again another Mario enemy from the 1000 Year Door. Dark Dragon typing with Moxie and Justified as abilities, 100 speed. This could honestly be a pretty threatening Choice Scarf Pokemon for sure, with Moxie sweeping. You could also go Dragon Dance like Bone Tail. They're pretty much as part of the same family. I'm pretty sure the red one got killed and then became Bone Tail, and then this is also just another alternate sort of dragon that was in those games. Again, one day I'll play 1000 Year Door, but not anytime soon. But yeah, knockoff, no Outrage again, but you know, you have Dragon Claw. And then in terms of other physical moves that you get access to, you have Earthquake, and then you have what would I even run? You need something to hit fairy type Pokemon. You have Iron Head. So yeah, maximum attack, maximum speed with a you know, Jolly Nature, maximize your speed. Or you could, again, does it get SD? No SD, so it's just down to Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance, yeah, this is pretty much just gonna get the job done, especially with Moxie. And then you could go any item. I don't even know what item you'd go. Any item. Heavy duty boots, life orb, black glasses to maximize knock off the damage output. You could go Dragon Claw to max Dragon Fang, I mean, to maximize damage output. But yeah, Gloomtail, definitely one of the more threatening Pokemon in the metagame just by stats alone, and of course, like, it's set up potential Dragon Dance. But yeah, moving on to Goomba stack here. Goomba stack being a pretty combination of just Goombas, obviously. Yeah, this mon isn't anything too impressive like Goombas are in general, but you do get Quick Feet Toxic Orb, which is gonna, you know, increase your speed by 1 stage, but 40 speed, yeah, that's a bit rough. That's a bit rough. You do get no retreat though, so I think that's probably the most important thing to take away from this. You get no retreat. Please tell me you get Facade, because I'll just go Facade Toxic Orb, and then you get a +1 Facade. Like, yeah, and you get a +2. You get a +2 speed boost. Okay, I see your game Goomba stack. Okay, let me not write off Goomba stack yet, because this is actually gonna be a decent Pokemon with no retreat. So yeah, no retreat Facade. Please tell me you get knockoff or summons it, ghost type Pokemon. You do get Sucker Punch, or you do get Crunch as well, and you get Psychic Fangs. But yeah, nah, this mon is definitely going to be strong. No way of hitting steel types though, which is no way of hitting steel or rock types, so you're just gonna have to take that as you will. But outside of that, yeah, this is actually gonna be quite a decently threatening Pokemon, I think, because if you double your speed at 196, you get to 392, which is just almost as fast as the guy sitting at 130 base speed. So you outspeed most of the metagame after a no retreat, which is actually pretty good to have. And then you're coming in with a +1 140 base power Facade. But yeah, Goomba stack, you're impressing me, man. You're impressing me. But yeah, moving on to Gooper Blooper first appeared in Super Mario Sunshine and is a boss in the Mario franchise. Another Pokemon with 130 attack, 60 base speed, reminiscent of Birdo that we covered earlier. But yeah, choice specs. That's what I'm doing. Choice specs with sticky hold, so you can't actually get knocked off. So you have Hydro Pumper Stab, you get Sludge Wave, you also get Snipe Shot as well. Please tell me you get Focus Energy. That would be interesting. Unfortunately, no Focus Energy. That's okay. You have Ice Beam, and then I guess you can go Flip Turn to pivot out of pretty bad matchups. This thing also gets access to Rapid Spin, so I guess it has that utility in the Rapid Spin department, so take that into account. And then yeah, you don't really get anything else. No T-Spikes. You do get access to Toxic, so that's not bad. And then yeah, just go Flip Turn to get out of pretty bad matchups, or go like a secondary Water Stab like Surf or Snipe Shot to you know, not rely on Hydro Pump's pretty shitty accuracy as it usually has. But yeah, modest nature here. Yeah, and then this thing is just gonna do a lot of damage with choice specs. Now we have wait, how many more mons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 2 more Pokemon to cover, guys, for part 1, and then, you know, we'll come back with part 2 or part 3. Again, we still have quite a bit to go through, to be honest. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am, because some of these guys are actually pretty cool. But yeah, moving on to Hammer Bro. Hammer Bro, pretty standout enemy as well. But you get access to Forecast, to be honest, which means you get other versions of Hammer Bros, which does actually make sense, because you get a Rainy Hammer Bro, which is based on the Boomerang brother. You get the Fire Bro one, which is obviously going to be for rain. And then you get the Ice one for snow as well. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool to see Hammer Bro gets the cast form sort of treatment without the shitty stats, of course. But yeah. So it's really dependent on which one you're using, obviously. If you're using this on a Sun team, you're probably going... Oh, wait, you get Shell Smash? Hey, why did I delete? Am I stupid? Yeah, no, you get Shell Smash? Hey. Unfortunately, you don't get the Sturdy Shell to double your defense, but hey, you get Shell Smash. That's actually pretty solid. This thing is pretty much the most versatile Pokemon I've covered so far, because this thing is usable in 3 weathers. You get access to Shell Smash, and you can hit on both sides. Like, you go physical or special. But yeah, let's see what the special move pool has to say for us. Again, yeah, that's actually pretty bad for the special move pool. But yeah, I guess you're going to be focusing on the physical side of things, I guess. But yeah, we'll just go mixed. I think you have to go mixed on a set like this, because if you're in the Sun, you're going to have Weather Ball, Ice Beam. I guess you also get... yeah, you get Thunder Punch, I guess, for the, you know, Sun Fire Bro. If you're going for the Snow Ice brother here, I guess you have access to Blizzard, assuming Snow is up. And then you have access to Fire Blast as well, because you need that to hit Steel types. And then you could probably afford to go Thunder Punch again. And then, what's the last one? The Rain one, you have access to... You don't actually get any physical special water moves, so I guess you're just going to go Razor... No, you're going to go Crab Hammer, actually. Crab Hammer, Fire Blast is useless in rain, so there's not much you can do about that. You'll probably go Ice... Well, not Ice Hammer, actually. Maybe Loaded Dice Icicle Spear, but I guess you have access to Ice Punch, and then, yeah, just go from there. Mixed with Ice Beam, and then Thunder Punch as well. But yeah, Hammer Bro really just depends on what weather you're using, and I think it's one of the most versatile mons we've covered in this video. And then the last Pokemon we'll be going over in this video as well, we have Hand Fake, which I believe is from Super Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, which is actually cool to see a mon like this here, or Mario Enemy, because they are quite actually underrated. But yeah, Illusion, definitely going to trick some people for sure. 120 attack, 105 base special attack. Access to Hone Claws. No, you get Sucker Punch though, which is actually quite nice as a revenge killer. Probably just want to go Heavy Duty Boots or something, so you don't actually... You bluff this thing quite effectively. You do get access to Swords Dance, Sucker Punch. You know, you get Knockoff, and then last move... I don't even know what you'd run in the last slot. I'll be perfectly honest. Yeah. I guess you'll just go Fire Punch or maybe Drain Punch. Drain Punch to hit Steel types and recover back some HP. But yeah, nah, this mon is definitely quite threatening, especially with 120 attack. You actually have some decent bulk to your name. Well, I say decent. The HP stat is usable. The defenses not so much. But yeah, that is it for part 1 of our Mariomons coverage. I hope you guys subscribe and be on the lookout for part 2 or part 3. I think this might need 3 parts, but it really depends on how long I make the next video, because this was already quite long already. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.